Hello, wholeness. Welcome to my channel. My name is Rashida Silvertree, and I'm here to continue on the message, a topic regarding cycles and seasons. And in my last video, I talked about how the future, or to know the future, is to become trapped by it, right? Well, in this topic today is how to predict your own future or potential outcome. Okay. You don't need an energy reader for this. You don't need to pay $300, $85, $30 an hour, whatever the prices are. I'm never going to charge you for an energy reading, by the way. I'm not doing that. I'm keeping it collective. And I could never quite understand the whole thing of charging people for energy reading. Like, yes, you're using your energy, like it does take a lot of energy to do energy readings for people who seek them. And but it's just very odd, for me anyway. But to each their own. I never want to make anyone feel bad about that if that's your bread and butter, but it's an odd thing. There was one medium I went to when I was out in the desert in the Southwest, and she didn't want money from me. She was the real deal too. Like, there's I think Netflix did a whole documentary on her life. She's very talented. She's helped police officers. She's helped people, who've lost people, and then people who are, trying to be found, or not trying to be found, but people who've gone missing and people who died and all this other stuff. She's truly gifted. And I went to her one day because I was going through my own spiritual stuff, trying to find God in my life and trying to realizing that, God is in me, but I will never forget it. She said, bring a plant. I was like, a plant? So I went to a plant shop and I purchased this $40 plant, okay, and I brought it to her house. She's like, oh, thanks. And she took it, and then I walked into her kitchen, and her whole kitchen was covered in beautiful plants everywhere. I just thought that was such a unique energy exchange. So how I look at, transactional stuff with energy readings is just, I don't know. I never felt the call to charge people for that. All my readings are they're God-led and they're spiritually led. And it's like, if I'm shown something, I'm shown something. It's up to you to take it or leave it, okay? Because I would never want to show something and then you're not taking it, and yet you paid me $75 or $300 for it. Yikes. So, how to predict your own future or potential outcome. I'm not going to say this is an easy practice. By studying, this is how you do this. By studying your own patterns, your own behaviors. This takes honesty. You have to be honest. I started this, younger. I was a young girl. I think let's see, how old was I? 9 or 10 years old. I came across Anne Frank. She actually inspired me. She was a young Jewish girl in Holland, I believe, or Netherlands. I can't remember, but she wrote a diary of Anne Frank. And it really inspired me to keep writing in my journals. So I kept journals for almost 30 years. Or no, wait, no. 25 years, I think, or 28 years or something like that. Yeah. But I let them all go, which that's a whole nother thing. Because the more you become present, the less you need to hold on to. The more you become present, the less you need to hold on to. The less record keeping you need. The less photographs you need. It's just something I've realized as a practicing minimalist. So, you predict your future by large events. Look at your whole life. You can break this down every 5 years, every 10 years, every decade. You can break it down you can break it down to only like specific areas in your life. If you want to focus on predicting a financial outcome, look at your financial timeline in your whole life. Did you come into this world where mommy and daddy were financially sound and they were good at managing their money and they were good at investing and they had a trust fund and put aside for you, and they, and they paid you allowance, and then they taught you how to be responsible with your allowance? Did you grow up in the first 5 years, of life with that? Or did you grow up where one parent was in the household, or someone overspent, or the lights were always cut off, or um, mom or dad they were living paycheck to paycheck, or you had a winter coat but you didn't have snow boots, or you had snow boots and no gloves or no scarves, right? Or you had to hitch a ride to get to where you needed to get to within your first 5 years of life. How was life when you were in college, right? 10 years later, you're 15 years old. Did you continue to rely on your parents, or did you go out and try to get a job, your first part-time job for the first time? Or did you didn't have to worry about working at all? You just focused on your studies because mom and dad would invest in your sports or your music or your hobbies? Did you learn how to, or your parents, when you're 15 years old, your parents were paying for everything, but you were just kind of spoiled, rotten, and you took them for every penny that they could get, right? When you got in your first fender bender, okay. Mom, Dad, do you have an extra $3,000 so I can get the car fixed? Like, was it like that? Did you have it made, or were you like struggling already? But you were learning very important attributes, right, for adulthood. So let's skip ahead to the age of 20. Oh, now you're out of the house, okay, or you still live in the house. There's nothing wrong with that. I think it's very financially smart to live with your parents. Okay, it's very, very, very smart move. That's all I can say. The drive to be independent financially is, oh man, like being on your own, that's normal. There's nothing wrong with that, okay? But don't let that drive go. But if you can stay with your parents, please do. Save your money. Talk to them about finances. Learn all that you can from your parents. Yes, they can be annoying, and I'm sure you annoy them, but take all the wisdom that you can gather. I'm telling you right now. Whew, man. Anyway, let's stay on topic. So you want to predict your financial future, okay? So you're into energy, spiritual woo-woo, okay? You're in the internet, you're like, ooh, what are they going to say about this, or what are they going to say about that? For those of you who are into tarot and energy readings and stuff like that, or you're just curious on how to, become more sovereign, you don't have to rely on energy healers and energy readers to predict your future for you. Pay attention to your habits throughout the decades, throughout the years, throughout the seasons. Look at, make it even a lot more simpler, and look at the past 5 years, okay? So 5 years ago, or how about this? 2020 to 2023. How did you handle your finances? And break it down quarterly, because we follow the Gregorian calendar, okay? I don't know who St. Gregory was. I have to look him up. But we follow that system to organize our chaos in this reality. So through January, March, what were your spending habits? Through April, June, what were your spending habits? Through July, September, what were your spending habits? All right, and this is just a prime example. This is just for your financial outcome, potential future. Because the further you can go back in your lifeline, your timeline, your reality, your whole life on your financial behaviors, you can predict what will happen within 5 to 10 years from now. And if you're unhappy with what's been going on in the past, get in tune with the present and change it. And that takes discipline and suffering. Suffering, why? Because it's hard to change a behavior. The behaviors are in they're programmed in the subconscious mind. Subconscious mind is where all the action is. Truly, it is. We believe that we're, I'm conscious. And they say, scientists have said that we only use 10% of our brain. Honestly, I think I believe that. We have a lot of potential. And so when you take the time, if you dislike something in your timeline, you dislike something in your behavior, and you would like to manifest a different outcome that's better for you and better for all, You really need to be present in the now. Okay? Another example on how to do this. Okay, you want to work on your love life. You want to be like, ooh, who's my potential lover? Ooh. No, you're missing the point there. It's not about who's coming your way. It's about the frequency that you're putting out that's going to attract that certain person. So let's just say in the past 10 years, you've had 5 lovers every 2 years. That's a lot for me anyway. But within the past 10 years, you've had 5 lovers, okay? Every 2 years, okay? So serial monogamous. I'm not judging. Um, every 2 years, and it's a similar pattern. They're, let's say, emotionally unavailable, or maybe they are emotionally unavailable, but they're too needy, right? They're more takers, right? So let's just say it's an unfulfilling emotional connections that you've had with these 5 relationships in the past decade of your life. And you're in your present reality and you're like, I'm tired of this cycle. I'm tired of this pattern. And I wanted to have and predict a different outcome. My dear sister or brother out there, listen, you have to tune into the present moment and change the behavior. Why, and ask yourself hard questions. Why am I with what in me is allowing and accepting? Remember when I brought up the victimhood mentality in my previous video? What is allowing and accepting? Why am I allowing and accepting these certain behaviors? What in me is allowing this? What in me is accepting of this mistreatment or this imbalance or fragmentation in my relationships that keep repeating? What's another area where people are incredibly obsessed about? I talked about money. I talked about relationships. Those are the two main ones I usually see on YouTube where people are just like, these energy readers are very, and I'm not saying they're not talented or not real. I'm just saying the frequency of the messages can be kind of low. Ooh, thank you. Okay, I just heard spirituality. Okay, spirituality. So, very good. So let's just say, ask yourself, okay, when I was 5 years old, did I grow up in a monotheistic religion? Did I grow up in a Jewish household? Did I grow up in a Christian household? Did I grow up in a Muslim household? Did I grow up in a atheist household? Did I grow up in a pagan household? And what were my views when I was 10 years old? What were my views when I was 15, right? Did I enjoy the festivities of my religion, or did I really did I feel trapped? Did I feel stuck, or was it too patriarchal or too whatever? Okay, or did I feel like I was or was I excommunicated from the church or from the community? Okay, or exiled, right? And then in your 20s or your 25, it's like, did you take a break from it all? Did you just step back and say, you know what, I'm just going to do me and just reclaim my spiritual sovereignty? I did that. Okay. It's very interesting how in our foundation, we can walk away from our spiritual or religious background and how we grew up only to come circle back around. It's so interesting how powerful the conditioning and programming is in our growing up, and how that shows itself and conducts itself throughout our life. So if you're truly wanting to revamp or revisit or reestablish your spiritual core beliefs, pay attention to your cycles throughout your life. Pay attention to the seasons where you lost faith in God completely. Pay attention to the seasons where you're on your knees begging for guidance from your God, your higher power. That can predict your spiritual growth or evolution. It can, because there's truth in behaviors and there's truth in patterns. Sometimes it's unpredictable. Sometimes it's very rare cases where you'll have someone make a drastic change and all of a sudden they're done drinking, or they become super religious overnight, or it's very rare for that. It's a process. It's discipline, and being present, constantly being present with yourself if you're truly wanting to predict your future. It's hard because you have to revisit some not so happy memories and moments, and it has you question yourself. But be careful when taking the predictions of your future from someone else. There are a lot of general readings out there, and there's nothing. I actually prefer the general readings more than the very specific ones. I like human collective readings because we can all gather something from each one. And, it's so interesting how the age of Aquarius is working through this digital world, how the human consciousness and the evolution of the human spirit is working through the digital world. So that's all I have for you. That's just a simple practice. You can write it down, chart it, do whatever you want. You want to focus on just the upcoming year, like what's going to happen in 2024. Okay, look at your journal from 2023. Or, okay, what happened 10 years ago in 2014? Oh, okay. Now, one more thing. People get really attached to the energetic blueprints that are ancient, okay? Like Vedic astrology, the zodiac Western astrology. I don't know how old that is, but I know Vedic is ancient, okay? It's been around for a minute, okay? So I'm not poo-pooing that system at all. There's nothing wrong with following a system that continues to be used and followed by, they say there's a difference between a millionaire and a billionaire. And the difference is that the billionaire uses astrology. I'm not making that up. That's true. Okay. That's very true. And the very people that use occultism and esoterica are the very ones that tell you to go to church and go worship your Christian God and your Allah and your Yahweh. They're the ones that really throw down like religion pretty hard, and they practice that other stuff in secret. Call me a conspiracy theorist if you want, but that's kind of sorry, not sorry. So that's how you can predict your own future. It's almost like you're your own little astrologer for your life specifically. You know you. You know you. You can go out and, pay somebody $300 and some dollars. Like, I did. Don't do it. That was a stupid mistake. It wasn't a mistake. I did it once. So then I can say I did it once, But you just need to take the time and predict your own way. That's it. So that's the message. I hope that's helpful. I just, as an energy reader, I'm when I'm shown things, and that's it. I don't try to attach myself to the outcome too much. You know what I'm saying? I don't try to hook myself into just one thing, because you're cutting off all pure potentialities. And just because something feels good, it's the right thing for you to go after, doesn't mean it's going to end how you think it is, and it's going to be in your best interest. But that's not the point. The point is about evolving. You can go after a career change, for example, and it's all well and good, it goes great, but then the result of that is something that you're just like, oh my God, that's, it's so challenging. But that challenge is for your growth. That challenge is for your evolution. Evolution isn't pretty. Evolution isn't always about ease and grace. It could be messy and chaotic. Okay? So I hope that helps you with this topic in Cycles and Seasons, and I'll see you soon.